Good morning, everybody. So yesterday I got a comment on one of my review videos about the FTX Zorro. Guy said he has one and he wants to upgrade the steering on it. So let's just go through. I got my Zorro on the table now. We'll go through and I'll just kind of explain how it's done to replace the servo for anybody who hasn't done it before. I know it's a very easy process, and I know a lot of us who have been into RCs for a while have done these on several vehicles, but this is for the people who have not done it yet. This is going to be, trying to help them out as much as possible, because the only way this hobby grows is if we teach people how to work on their own stuff, so that way they can enjoy that aspect of it too. Because driving them is a hell of a lot of fun, but building them and repairing them is part of that process, and you learn to love each of your vehicles after you tear it down and you go through it. So let's get into it. This is the FTX Zorro. How to change the steering servo. Now, as you see here, here's the Zorro. Let's pull these clips out. Pull the body off. Now that the body is off, we can see here that the chassis setup is fairly nice and simple. Let me spin it around here. Very easy to work on this chassis, I find. So now, as you can see here, the steering linkage is all kind of exposed, but, held together nicely so you can have access to it all. You're going to want to remove that screw here to take the servo horn off. So that removes that, and then you just rotate that out of the way. Then you can see the servo wire. I've got mine zip tied up here so it's out of the way. But the servo wire goes into here, the servo box. You're going to take these two screws out. They're screws, but they're Allen head screws. You're going to want to take these out, and you're going to want to unplug the steering servo from the receiver. Now, what that'll do is now that's opened up so you can replace the servo if you need to, or if you're just upgrading it. Mine still has the stock servo in it, because it's been working out really well. Now, once you've got that done, you see that there's 4 screws here holding the servo onto the mount. Remove those 4 screws. Then, now that the horn is removed, it's unplugged, and those screws are gone, you can just lift that up and out. Now, when you're looking for a replacement, there are many different brands, many different kinds of servos, so it might be like an impossible choice, but here are a few that I've got. Now, this is just a stock Spectrum. It's an S603. This came out of an ECX Ruckus, I believe, or a Torment. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. But this is just a stock Spectrum that comes in a lot of their, the low C, anything owned by Horizon Hobbies. This used to come in a lot of their trucks. I don't know if they've switched or not. I haven't bought anything new from them in a while, but this is a decent servo. It's a little bit quicker than what I would say the stock servo is. So it's good for racers or just general yard bashers. However, again, it's just a stock servo. So if you want something a little better, we can look to my Emax my second gen or third gen. I don't know. I think it's a second gen chassis. My Emax. I've got these MZ 996s. I've got 2 of these in here, and my shelf just almost fell over. That wouldn't have been good. Oops. That would not have been good at all. But anyway, but yeah, I've got these MZ 996 servos in here, and those together easily turn the front wheels of this Emax. Now, in my T-Max, I believe I also have that same servo. Oh no, it's a different off-brand. I got it on Amazon. It's I think it's an all metal. It's an all metal servo. I know I buy the all metal ones. I'll have to go through my Amazon and look, but again, that one servo, I believe it's a 20 or 25 kg servo, more than enough to turn these big-ass T-Max wheels while it's on the ground. Most of my other trucks, like my Nitro trucks here, like let's look at my Rustler. My Nitro Rustler, aka Misbehave, she's got hooked up here. I believe it's the same one I've got in the T-Max, or same brand, similar. That's an MG996R. Again, another all-metal gear servo from Amazon. That one's on the throttle. And the one I have for the steering... Oh no, the steering on that one, I just had it's a random no-name servo that I got in a lot of parts. So that one I cannot attest to what brand it is, but it is, so far it's working really good. But again, the Nitro Rustler is a very lightweight truck. Nitro Stampede has the stock Traxxas, the old black box servo, not the newer waterproof ones. The Nitro Fortec, again, I've got those MG996Rs for on the throttle. And the rest of these either have some sort of a stock servo or one of those servos from Amazon. The Gen 1 Emax, I know this one is running one of the better servos. This has got one of those red box, one of those 25 kg crawler servos. DS3225 Metal Gear. That's one of the good crawler servos. So for single servo trucks, if they're heavier, I would suggest a crawler servo. It's not going to be as fast as a race servo, but it definitely turns the tires on these big ass trucks much nicer than the stock ones do. Because the stock Traxxas servos that came in, especially in these Gen 1 Emaxes, were very underwhelming, and they could not do what they were supposed to 90% of the time. As soon as the battery started losing its life, like the steering would gut out and it would just be gutless. So I mean, again, I've been buying these Muizi, whatever the hell they're, I don't know, I guarantee I butchered that name. But again, these are the MZ996s. You get a 6-pack for like 20 bucks on Amazon. I will have a few of them linked in the description below. But so far, those servos have been really good in all the trucks I've put them in. I haven't had any issues. So if you're going to upgrade the steering, base it on what you're going to be doing with it. If you're going to be racing, like this is a trophy truck, it's going to be for racing or bashing. You're not going to do a whole lot of stunts with it. But I would still suggest a Metal Gear servo, because the plastic ones, they'll strip out on a hard landing if you're trying to turn. And you really don't want, even though these steering bell housings and like all this linkage setup has some sort of servo saver on it, I still wouldn't just trust that alone to save your steering, because that alone can only hold so much. So definitely if you're going to upgrade the steering servo, get something that has Metal Gears. But again, base it off of what you're going to be doing with the truck. Like the Zorro, my Zorro here, I kind of, backyard race it. I don't really do any like full competition racing with this truck. This is just more of my fun yard racer. I race against my kids. I race against, my buddies. It's a fun truck, and that's what I use it for. So right now I've just left the stock servo in it. But again, very easy process. 7 screws total. Take off the cover for the receiver. Take off those 4 screws, and then the 1 screw holding the servo horn on, and then put the new servo in and just reverse the process and make sure you got it plugged into the steering channel on the receiver, which is always channel 1. Steering is always channel 1, throttle is always channel 2, unless it's specified otherwise. Like on this remote here that I have hooked up to my plane, this one's a little bit different. You can see There's ailerons, elevator, third channel, rudder. So these ones are a little different, but on any of your standard pistol grip remotes and receiver setups, channel 1 is always steering. Remy, what are you doing? Besides being a pain in my ass. But yeah, so that's how to change out the steering servo on the FTX Zorro. Remington, come on. So, thanks for sticking around. Again, like I said earlier, I will have a bunch of different of the servos that I buy and use in my collection. I'll have those linked in the description below. I will also link some more pricey, high-dollar servos if you plan on doing some like actual competition racing, because I know there's a lot of short course leagues and even like the buggy leagues. Those guys get really competitive, and essentially it doesn't matter how good you're a driver, you can only be so good with what you have. And some of those guys put some big dollars into some of their rigs, and they will, doesn't matter how good you are, they're guaranteed to be able to outpace you because they spend just that much more money. Not to say that they don't know their trucks inside and out. These guys tune these trucks, everything down to the littlest minute screw, even like the weight distribution. They have it tuned just right so they can throw it through those corners like it's with their eyes closed. These guys are crazy. I've seen some of them firsthand, and they are nuts. Like, I'm a decent driver, but these guys are they are leagues ahead. Now, so I will include in the description some links to some of the more high dollar, faster servos, some more of the high quality servos. But yeah, I will include all those as well. So stick around for more. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe and hit that little notification bell. Be notified about all my newest videos. If you got any questions, be like this guy who asked this question. Feel free to reach out and ask in the comments below, or reach out on the social medias that will be linked in the description below. I try and check on them at least once a day, sometimes more, depending on how much interaction I get from you guys. So feel free, and I will get to your questions or comments as soon as I can. Have a good one, everybody.